Bienvenidos. Welcome to our Sol Exam Center. Thank you for accepting our invitation to participate in the Hispanic Community Health Study, Estudio de los Latinos, SOL.
Sobre la salud de la población hispano-latina.
The most important study on Latino health ever done in the U.S. We are pleased to have this opportunity to tell you more about the study and to give you all the information you need to make a well-informed decision to participate. Latinos are the largest minority group living in the U.S. However, little information is available about their health, nutrition, practices, and beliefs that affect health. This study is done to understand what factors influence Hispanic health and how to prevent and treat specific diseases in the future. The Hispanic Community Health Study is funded by the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute and 6 other institutes and centers of the National Institutes of Health, NIH.
Good morning, ma'am. Do you have a second? Hi, how are you? We work with the Hispanic Community Health Study.
This study is conducted in 4 cities: San Diego, Chicago, New York, and Miami. A total of 16,000 Latinos from these cities will participate in the study. You are among 4,000 participants from your city.
Venga conmigo.
Our experienced and dedicated research team and staff want you to have a pleasant and productive experience at our exam center.
Buenos días, Víctor, ¿cómo está?
Buenos días, ¿cómo estás?
Mucho gusto de tenerlo aquí. ¿Cómo ha estado su día?
We want to assure you that the study personnel will treat you with the utmost respect. They will make you feel at home and they will look after your needs.
Ok, señor Medina. ¿Tiene alguna pregunta antes de empezar?
We want to be sure to answer all of your questions, so please don't hesitate to ask our study staff any questions or to mention any concerns that you may have.
Pero sí, la única forma de que la medicina pueda avanzar es a través de ustedes, nosotros haciendo estos tipos de estudios.
Now we will tell you what will happen in this study and how long the study will last. We'll tell you about the benefits and risks that result from participation in this study, and we'll also describe how we will protect the information that you provide, as well as your privacy and confidentiality.
Toda la información será confidencial.
Y no por nombre.
Efectivamente.
The process by which you learn all the important details about the study,
Okay.
and you then indicate your voluntary participation in all or some of its parts, is called informed consent. Giving consent means that you have heard or read the information about this study and you agree to participate. The informed consent form is a document that is required by a federal law concerning research that you will be asked to review carefully today and sign. It is approved by an independent board to protect the rights and welfare of people who participate in research. This board is called the Institutional Review Board, or IRB. If you participate in the SOL, you will always have access to the IRB at this university for any questions or concerns about this study, and its phone number and contact information will be provided to you in the informed consent form. Now let's take some time to review the consent form section by section. The SOL personnel will provide you with your copy of the informed consent form. Please review it carefully and feel free to ask about anything that is not clear. After you examine the contents of the consent form, you will arrive at the section at the end of this form where you indicate agreement to participate in all or some of the portions of the study of Latinos. Your signature and that of a witness will document your choices. As we go over this information with you, please remember that you have the option to participate or not participate in any of the tests the study offers, and to answer or not to answer any questions asked by the study. These are decisions that you make, and they do not affect your rights, your relation with this university, or the medical benefits that you currently have. This study involves a visit to the Sol Exam Center,
What is that going to do to me?
a phone call about a month later, and also a follow-up telephone call every year for at least 3 years after your examination. During your visit to the exam center, you will answer questions about your medical history, your family medical history, the names and dosages of the medications you are currently taking, noise and specific materials at your workplace, access to medical care and medical insurance, your physical activity, sleep habits, health beliefs, and nutrition.
Hello, I'm Dolores.
In addition, we will do a series of medical tests. A trained technician will draw about 6 tablespoons of blood from your arm. You are asked to fast this morning because this is needed for some blood tests. After your blood is drawn and a few procedures are performed, you will receive a snack or lunch. We will also collect a sample of urine to check your kidney function. The study does not test for drugs in the blood or urine, HIV, AIDS, or sexually transmitted diseases. Other procedures include measuring your height and weight, blood pressure in your arms and ankles, your waist and hips, an electrocardiogram to check your heartbeat and rhythm, a breathing test called spirometry to see how well your lungs are working, a test to identify whether you have diabetes, a hearing test while you sit in a quiet booth to find out how well you hear different sounds, an exam of any cavities in your teeth and your gums, not a cleaning,
Familia.
a test of your memory,
Por aquí, por la marca azul.
Por la marca.
and we will make a list of what you ate over the 24 hours prior to your visit to the exam center. At the end of your examination visit, you will be given instructions on how to wear a small, lightweight monitor that will automatically record your physical activity during the following 7 days and how to return it.
Okay.
When you return home from your examination, you will be asked to wear a special headband with a sleep monitor on your forehead for 1 night while you sleep. This will help us to learn more about how sleep affects health and disease. Before you leave the Sol Center, you will be shown how to wear this headband monitor and how to return it. A summary of the results of your blood test and other examinations will be provided to you after 4 to 6 weeks, and you may choose to give these results to your provider of medical care. Should a test result show that you should check this with your healthcare provider, we will let you know.
Y si ahora que usted no tiene un doctor,
If you do not have a provider of medical care, we will try to assist you in finding one.
doctor suyo, ¿cuándo fue la última vez que lo viste?
About 4 weeks after the visit to the exam center, you will receive a telephone call for a record of what you ate the day before the call. You are not being asked to change your usual diet or the foods you eat. Afterwards, study personnel will contact you once a year to learn about your health. That's why it's so important for us to have up-to-date information about your address and telephone number. If you experienced a health event that required a visit to the emergency room or a hospitalization, we will ask your permission to get copies of your medical records. Also, in the case that you die, your relatives or the person you designated will be contacted for permission to get a copy of the medical records. The field of science that studies how characteristics are transmitted from one generation to another, such as from parents to children, is referred to as genetics. It can help us to understand what makes some persons develop health problems while others seem to be protected. To study this, DNA, our genetic code, is collected from our blood together with a related marker called RNA. Each of these provides important information about how we inherit disease risk from our parents and other ancestors. Researchers will compare DNA and RNA from people with certain diseases or conditions to those from people without those conditions to find any differences that exist. The genetic studies performed in this study are not genetic tests. They may not be able to tell us whether you will get a disease or not, and they are not intended to diagnose any health conditions. Researchers and doctors know some of the genes that cause disease, but they do not know all of them. Your participation in this study may help in the diagnosis and treatment of diseases. Discoveries made using your genetic material could benefit future generations of Latinos and humanity.
What exactly the DNA? I don't understand too much about that.
Okay, with your permission, some of your blood and genetic material will be stored by investigators for future studies.
With your authorization, we will store some of the DNA and RNA found in your blood to do genetic research. These studies are not genetic tests to diagnose a condition or to determine if you will get a specific disease or not. The SOL will only use the blood from its participants to do research on how diseases develop and how to protect the health of the population. On the informed consent form, there are places for you to indicate your instructions to us on how the study should use your genetic material.
So whatever you want to do or you don't want to do, you let us know.
You will also be asked if you want to be contacted in the future if any scientific discoveries indicate that you or your relatives may benefit from knowing about a gene that you carry.
And it could benefit other generations and humanity.
With your permission, some of your blood will be stored so studies can be done on scientific questions that emerge in the future. Other investigators who are not part of the SOL at this time could request permission to use your stored blood for other studies. This will be done only if you authorize us to do so. In order for science to progress, researchers often exchange scientific resources and information. We are asking your permission to allow sharing of data, information, and samples that will not identify you with researchers who are not part of the SOL. The samples will not have your name, address, or similar identifying information. They will only have a code. At all times, you have the option to authorize or not authorize outside investigators or companies to use the blood and the information you provide to SOL. A benefit from your participation is receiving a summary report of the results of your medical tests. There is no charge to you for participating in this study.
And your blood sugar screen also came out very good.
The procedures and blood tests performed during the clinic visit are not a substitute, however, for medical care. This is a research project. We will not provide medical care for any of the conditions detected during the exam, but we will refer you to a healthcare provider if you do not have one. The long-term benefit to you and to society from your participation is the knowledge that scientists will gain about Latino health. This may benefit the health of many generations of Hispanics and of public health in the U.S. in general.
Nothing else? Oh, okay.
We're not here to hurt you at all.
Oh, thanks. I was kind of concerned on that.
There are some risks associated with your participation in this study. A skilled technician will draw your blood. Minimal bruising, pain, or bleeding may occur as a result of the blood draw. Nothing will be injected into your body, only blood will be withdrawn. You may feel tired and hungry since you will be fasting, but this will be resolved after having a snack or lunch, which we will provide.
I really feel kind of comfortable, talk about my personal life.
Oh, no, don't worry about it. Here we keep everything confidential.
Also, you may not feel comfortable answering some questions, but you can choose not to answer them without having to explain why.
Y primero necesito cogerle la medida del brazo, ¿ok?
The blood draws in some of the procedures may feel somewhat uncomfortable, but we want to assure you that our technicians have been carefully trained to make these procedures safe and comfortable. We will test your blood for hepatitis B and C, which are infectious diseases. If the laboratory results are confirmed to be positive, indicating that you are infected with the virus for hepatitis B or the virus for hepatitis C, the study is required by law to report these results to the local health agencies so that spread of an infection can be prevented. We will take precautions to avoid risk to you. Before any tests are done, we ask that you notify the staff of any medical conditions or surgery you experienced in the last 6 months. If you have diabetes, you do not need to do the diabetes test. The tests and procedures performed in this study are considered safe for pregnant women and those who are nursing. Still, women who are pregnant are asked to schedule the exam visit 3 months after delivery.
Yo quisiera saber cómo la información que nosotros le estamos dando a ustedes va a ser confidencial.
All the information that you provide to this study is strictly confidential. That means that we will not share your information with anybody unless you give us written, signed permission. All of the information, including questionnaires, stored blood and test results, will be secure and registered using number codes that do not mention your name or any information that could potentially identify you. To help us protect your privacy, we have obtained a certificate of confidentiality from the National Institutes of Health. A federal law allows the NIH and other federal agencies to issue certificates of confidentiality to persons engaged in research for the purpose of protecting the privacy of research subjects. To protect against anyone outside of this study getting access to our electronic database, your personal information is kept masked in such a way that you cannot be identified. The SOL investigators are committed to follow strict confidentiality and privacy practices to protect you and your information. Investigators or companies who are authorized to access your information are expected to follow these best practices. Nevertheless, the SOL investigators cannot entirely guarantee that outside investigators will follow the same standards all the time. Some people are concerned about losing their jobs or medical insurance if their employer or medical insurance company learns of their research results. We will not release any of the test results to your employer or an insurance company unless we receive written and signed instructions from you to do so. If anyone should get your genetic information through other sources, the law protects you. The Genetic Information Notification Act, GINA, of 2008 protects people from discrimination by health insurers and employers on the basis of DNA information. You will be asked to give us your Social Security number. However, this is entirely optional. We may need your Social Security number to get copies of your medical records and other medical documents, as explained earlier. We will not share your information with any law, government, financial, or healthcare agency, nor use your Social Security number to locate you in the future. You may refuse to give your Social Security number and still participate in this study.
The purpose of this Hispanic study is to see what are the risk factors.
Without your participation, our understanding of Hispanic or Latino health will remain limited.
Póngaselo en la boca y sople duro.
However, we would like to make you aware that in the event you change your mind, you can withdraw from this study or modify your consent at any time.
What is that going to do to me?
In addition, to some extent, you can also ask in the future that your information be removed from our databases. Before you make such a decision, we ask that you let us listen to your concerns and why you would like to withdraw your participation, because hearing why and your concerns is also extremely helpful. We want to emphasize that we want to stay in touch with you and continue our partnership in the SOL in the future as long as you would like to remain in our study. Please make sure that all your questions have been addressed before you fill out the last section of the informed consent form. Your signature on this document means that you have been informed of the study's purposes and activities and that you understand them completely. We are very grateful for your willingness to participate in this, the most important study of Hispanic health. Welcome to the SOL.